In July of 2018, my crew and I drove from Chicago to the Beartooth Mountains, spending 5 nights and 6 days hiking the Absaroka-Beartooth Wilderness. The trip totaled just under 30 miles, but had over 16,000 feet in elevation changes, with almost 3 entire days hiking off trail and challenging terrain. We parked at Camp Senia, where a shuttle service picked us up, naturally in a low-to-the-ground conversion van. The shuttle dropped us off at Island Lake. Before entering the wilderness, we passed a bunch of car campers with ice-filled coolers, bags of chips, and charcoal grills. Surely we must have all thought that we were better than these people, but we had the class not to say it. Okay, we did say it. A lot. Here's a quick look at our route for what turned out to be one of my favorite backpacking trips. Day 1, we hiked entirely on trail from Island Lake to Golden Lake. The next 2.5 days were off trail, route finding across a mess of boulder fields and snow-covered passes. Day 2 going from Golden to High Pass Lake, and Day 3 to Throop Lake. Day 4 was a grueling journey to September Morn and included standing 70 feet from a mama black bear and her 3 cubs. You'll have to take my word for it because I didn't film it. After Kaiser Brown Lake, we returned to established trails for the remainder of the trip. Day 5, we reached the top of Sundance Pass, then descended her switchbacks for a hike to Quinnebaugh Meadows for our final, triumphant, drunken evening. Day 6, the last, an easy trek on trail to our waiting car at Camp Senia.
Well, we've just begun our hike. We're heading towards Jasper Lake. We just left Island Lake Campground, and we're having fun. Day 1.
What's that in the background?
That's on some mountain. We'll try to head towards there, and on the north side of it, camp.
All right. Island to Golden Lake is an easy day, gaining about 800 feet, but doing so on trail over the course of 7 miles. A couple river crossings and adjusting to the altitude were the only real challenges for today. I really loved the first day of a trip. You're not tired from a week of hiking yet. You've been looking forward to this for months. You spent yesterday in a car or an airplane, and the night in a shitty motel, and now you're here. The gray line here is the state line where we cross from Wyoming to Montana. We hid everything illegal in our butts and made it through without incident. The trail was faint and over rocky banks at times, but it was always distinguishable. Becker to Albino Lake was the first climb of note, where we took our first break during a spontaneous July hailstorm.
That guy's good, man. He knows how to explain it. Because he explains why he would do it behind the theory. Not just you do this.
Well, a lot of stuff is a counter too. Or is counter too. If your first reaction is kicking your feet.
After staying on Albino's west bank, the last leg is another 300-foot climb to a vista overlooking both Golden and Jasper Lakes. After enjoying the view, we had a 200-foot descent to the Golden Jasper Pass. We eyeballed the safest crossing spot and set up near Golden Lake for our first evening.
country. No, it is not my decision to go. Roll up the stakes, open your eyes when they're closed, and we'll spend the least and make the most. Oh, the things that you say are clay pigeons for the range, filling up a gulch of things forgotten. The world is not blessed with your elephant's memory, begrudging all you have seen. Let's linger a while in a place that I know. I think I packed a bag here once long ago. My partner, I can hear your snores. Each night it makes your evening chorus. Oh, but night quail fills your dreams with inner city teens, menacing your windshield at stoplights. I do not feel so protected, the gap is bigger than I expected between myself and your begrudging memory. I found a place to get what I need, an overcoat, an electric drill, some mustard seed. This town is filled with no one but preachers and whores. I humor each on my adventures. But it was always lack that brought me to your ways. I loved as a loud mouse loves a maze. The liquor in your laugh and the lacquer on your lips, the darkness of your begrudging memory. The darkness of your begrudging memory.
The next 2.5 days were off trail with a lot of on-the-spot route finding. It might not look like it, but we know what we're doing. Off-trail mountaineering requires a certain skill set, and the conditions you'll see on our journey can completely change even week to week. It's very likely I don't want you to die out here, so use our off-trail routes only as a rough guide, and only if you know what you're doing. I actually had someone try and replicate our trip from a previous video. He saw 3 not really in shape, yet totally handsome dudes that smoke a lot and figured he could follow our route. He turned back, I think, on the first day. Day 2 was challenging. It was under 3 miles, but we climbed over 1,100 feet, dropped over 400, and virtually every step was crossing snow or boulder fields. We left Golden Lake, briefly skirting Jasper Lake on her snowy western bank, then ascended this ridge in the direction of Two Bits Lake. At the top of the ridge near these tarns, we headed west in the direction of Triskel Lake. After deciding against rounding the south side of Triskel, we crossed an active drainage to her east, then wound around the north side, finally crossing the stream coming from Two Bits Lake. From here to our destination, it was very rough and rocky. After climbing about 400 feet from Triskel, there seemed to be multiple paths to reach High Pass Lake, but you can see what we felt was the most reasonable. We took our final climb about another 400 feet between these 2 ridges. We topped out right at 11,000 feet, then eyeballed a 100-foot descent to set up camp at High Pass Lake. Without further ado, here was day 2.
I think that when I'm high, I'm over you. I hope that when to you, to you, to you, to you. Look at all the songs I wrote for you. I didn't write a rule I chose for you, for you, for you, for you. I don't know why I feel this way, this way. Everything permanent falls apart. I know how I can kill this pain, this pain. Someone tell my mom I'm sorry, yeah. I don't have to feel this way, this way. Everything permanent falls apart. I know how I can kill this pain, this pain. Someone tell my mom I'm sorry, yeah. I think I'm in a high, I'm over you. I think I'm in a high, I'm over you. I don't know why I feel this way, this way. Everything permanent falls apart. I know how I can kill this pain, this pain. Someone tell my mom I'm sorry, yeah. I don't have to feel this way, this way. Everything permanent falls apart. I know I can kill this pain, this pain. Someone tell my mom I'm sorry, yeah. I think I'm in a high, I'm over you. I think I'm in a high, I'm over you. I think I'm in a high, I'm over you. I hope that when I die, I'm close to you, to you, to you, to you.
Right up. That's how quick things start around here. You ask for it, you fucking get it.
Spirits are high right now. I like
Spirits are
it.
very high.
We're doing a good job.
Literally. There's not a whole lot of whiskey above 10,000 feet. There's not a big city above 10,000.
We're probably out in airplanes.
Shit. See? You're still sharp mentally and physically.
No, that's for peanut
might be
butter. I
able
don't
to
want to
get
carry you that. I don't want to have that on my person.
Oh, you're keeping that on your person? You don't have to keep that.
Oh, no, I want to get rid of it. Here, take it away from me.
We each have a peanut butter.
I don't want this shit, you know.
Where's the peanut butter one that you have in your pocket?
I don't have peanut butter in my pocket.
Yeah, the one.
That sugar gives you so much energy, you know. Make a real sweet coffee, just like.
This is what? Pre-workout?
No. Pre-workout's really strong. Like,
Dude, what is this is what I'm asking.
lemon lime, just electrolyte mix.
Alright, so right now this is the garbage bag. But no cigarette butts go in here.
Yeah,
Ever. It's delicious. I think it's like Marlboro's, Winston's, Spirits, like in terms of burn.
Oh yeah, but Marlboro's burn fast.
Winston's burn regular Pentagon. You know, so the packs would be as tall as a normal pack, but they'd have this cut off. So you had a couple quick nicks in the front. Sometimes you just want to bite a cake, right? Imagine if you could only buy cake in like slice form, which is how it is with cigarettes, right? Birthday parties would be. I don't always want a whole slice of cake. I just want to bite a cake. And I mean, I actually know from experience. I tried like e-cigs and stuff for a short time. But when you have that luxury of being able to smoke inside, wherever, anywhere, it's like e-cigs would only be good for me personally if I magically was able to 100% tree poke a tent pole. I was shaking out my tent, like we pick it up when it's still like and it just dinged against the side of a rock. Like I didn't know that wasn't a cheap
Which one
tent.
was that?
Those are Eureka.
Eureka's a cheaper brand.
You want to do it every day, man. What's going on?
Okay, that's a good point.
You're gonna just gain confidence every time you do it.
You're a good point.
You should wipe off your face though. Looks like someone came in your eyes. All right.
Not yet. Let me wipe it down. So
Dude, you do whatever you need to do to get.
In conclusion, we speak a lot of nonsense in the wilderness. This next step, though, is not to be trifled with, and that's hanging our food and other scented items in a bear bag so animals can't get into it. It's important it's done right. Here's how you do it. while I told you what's so great about day 1, I love day 2 as well. It's the first day you're waking up outside of society in the wilderness, and it's when you really start to feel like you're there.
Fucking TGIF Fridays over there, on the west side of fucking town. Make sure everything's under control.
Day 3 was about as difficult as 2.06 miles gets. No trails and a lot of route finding. We left camp, crossing a boulder field to the south of Sky Pilot Lake, then cut north through some rocky grass, completely bypassing the lake. We passed these 2 tarns, which had the Lake Fork Creek running through them. We more or less followed this creek for the next day and a half. We wanted to stay above the creek, and for a while we did, but in addition to difficult bushwhacking, we kept cliffing out and having to turn around. So we found a reasonable way down to the creek's level, meeting up with it about where it cascaded down. Walking along the creek was mostly rocky grass with a couple easy snow passes. Starting here, we took a couple grassy slopes down to the level of our eventual campsite. After those gradual descents, we crossed the Lake Fork Creek and arrived at Throop Lake, our campsite for the evening.
You think we want to go towards those big boulders over there? Want to like go this way and then down?
Let's go a little closer to the edge. I can't see the... sure.
Day 4, we were again in a situation where we wanted to keep high, above the Lake Fork Creek as it was raging in this area. The bushwhacking required to keep high was pretty difficult and slow at times. When we got here, leveling out a bit closer to the creek, we'd oscillate between flat grass and smaller boulder fields. Things started to get impassable by the creek, so we cut back into the forest, bushwhacking to find the best possible routes. As we approached Second Rock Lake, it was very uneven, marshy ground, and I lost my footing, landing on a hidden, sharp rock. We used the rocky hill to pass Second Rock Lake, and after passing it, we locked eyes with a mama black bear, 70 or so feet down, at lake level. She kind of turned back, and then 3 cubs ran out. They all ran off in exactly the direction we planned on heading. Bear mace in hand, we went up the hill, taking the high ground, hoping to avoid the bears. We did, and not long after, it seemed a distant memory. We trudged down toward First Rock Lake and passed it in the same fashion as Second Rock. After passing it, around this turn or so, the hike became easier. Vague game trails led us towards Kaiser Brown Lake, where we took a break, and at which point we met back up with an actual trail. We said goodbye to the Lake Fork Creek, which we had more or less followed for 2 days, and headed uphill on trail to September Morn Lake.
Everybody's alright, everybody's inside, everybody's on you, and there's some Broom. Everybody's alright, everybody's inside, you're a chimpanzee from the Zimbabwe. Alright, baby. Everybody's alright, everybody's inside, everybody's on you, and there's some Broom. Everybody's alright, everybody's inside, do that Zimbabwe, from the chimpanzee. Everybody's alright, everybody's inside, everybody's on you, and there's some Broom. Everybody's alright, everybody's inside, do that chimpanzee, from that Zimbabwe.
Go away, bear!
Did you see cubs?
Yes. Maybe 3? Damien, what did we just see?
A bear,
And
3 cubs.
how does it make you feel?
I'm a little scared, frightened. Horse meat was like a delicacy, like your horse died and you made sausages out of it.
Is that horse sashimi?
It wasn't like,
Japan.
it's not like, you can't buy it in the store, you'd have to like get it in the
France,
village.
France, I saw it on menus. In fact, just sent me a private message. Hey man, looks like you're in Paris, dude. If you get the chance, eat some horse meat. Or no, it was Toulouse. He's like, Toulouse, it's the delicacy down there. And he's like a chef. He knows food.
You see these trout over here,
Oh,
Scotty?
they're jumping everywhere.
Yeah, I do. I got it on film.
They're massive.
This one's screamers.
Day 5 was very challenging, yet straightforward as was entirely on trail. We took our time in the morning, enjoying our last full day in the Beartooths. We left September Morn and climbed 1,300 feet in about 1.65 miles to the top of Sundance Pass, enjoying breathtaking views before descending switchbacks to the valley below. The switchbacks were narrow, covered in scree, and uneven, so there's no footage as we were all focused on not falling. The valley below Sundance was beautiful and perfect for a rest. We continued on trail to Quinnebaugh Meadows and found a campsite between a river and the trail for our final evening. This marked the first night we stayed up past sundown, so we had a lot of adrenaline and enough booze to party hard. All right, photo shoot, ready?
Yeah.
All right, start posing. I'm taking pictures, go ahead.
Is it going? I can't hear it click anymore.
Go.
It's not making any noises and stuff.
This is the river.
Go. Go.
Just a couple.
Go.
Just a couple. You want this guy?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down to the river and want you to pound that. You need your veggie proteins. This walk's gonna be tough.
Slow and steady, man. I'm gonna take a lot of bears.
We've completed the off-trail portion between Island Lake and the Lake Fork Creek, and now we're on trail, heading up to the Sundance Pass to get down to Quinnebaugh Meadows. Thank you.
So, we just climbed 1,300 feet in under 2 hours. In the distance, you'll see that lake. That's where we came from this morning. It was tough, but I feel great. On to the next one. So, we're in the Quinnebaugh Meadows, not far from the trail, but we had a really rough hike in. This is our last night. We're already pretty drunk, and we just got deuced with rain. There was a thunderstorm. We abandoned our riverside place rather. Got to some tree cover and proceeded to get drunk. So this is our campsite here. You know, not too shabby. We're gonna take in a little journey to our hangout spot. My boys are hanging out just around the corner here. By this here river. We got booze, we got food, we got smokes. We got everything we need. Let's go.
The railroad maybe was coming in. That was going from big city to big city. People in Red Lodge were getting supplies via this trail.
Yeah.
You know, not literally exactly where it is, like almost.
What's that shit, man?
You just missed the epic ramp.
You know, like you see the trails. That wasn't
Yeah,
people
there's like
trails.
5 different types of shit on the trail.
It's a game trail. Like all the game wants to go up as high as possible.
But
in the
even when we
summertime.
were bushwhacking through the thickest shit of the thickest shit, there was like piles of shit everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like different kinds. That little fucking berry-like scat, the moose piles that are like almost look like mushrooms. Dude, let's eat those candies.
Oh shit.
Should we save those
No.
tomorrow?
Just do them now.
Tomorrow.
I won't be fucking on my game. I'm gonna get
You out of your
fucking
mind?
Scotty, where are we at?
Quinnebaugh Meadows.
How was the last fucking week?
One of the best weeks of my life.
What'd you do?
Half a milligram of cheese. Fuck you. I pushed my body to its limits. I got hurt. I got soldiered on. I had a good night, a good day every day with my boys. I couldn't ask for anything more.
Couldn't ask
This
for
is life,
anything
man.
more.
This is life.
It's the place to be, man. Go back to camp.
All right.
Back to camp.
And do what?
Because there's more. Where we're hanging out, there's more room.
But and do what when we get there?
Catch fish. Too frozen during the winter time. See that, Scott? Yeah, it's not.
God damn it! I just started the camera and everything, man.
Turn it off. Turn it off. We're taking a big log here. See that?
Fuck yeah.
Nope. False alarm.
Okay. River is fucking pristine.
So this is
fucking
us
river,
trying to
that's the
start a
problem.
fire after a thunderstorm
In the river.
in the river. Where's Damon?
Yeah, whatever. We'll be ready to eat in a couple minutes.
In my water bottle. Let's drink the water bottle. Let's not. No. Dude, no, just take the spirit juice. Put the spirit juice in the water bottle, man. I can't
about the cheese.
I cannot do this.
There's a lot of shit.
Dude, don't even do that.
There's a couple breaks in there. I'll fucking shoot this shit. Give me this.
Just put it in the water.
Scotty's got it, dude. Give me this.
I'm not gonna. I can't do that, man.
Oh, I like alcohol, but I can't eat like fucking half a milligram of cheese. Fuck you. We're shouting into the woods. People can hear us from like half a mile. It tastes better with cheese. Tell me I'm fucking wrong. Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
I can't do that, man. I'm sorry.
Get real, dude. Get real. Get real. Don't make puke sounds.
I can't do it, man.
Dude. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that.
I'm sensitive.
Damn, can't even tell the difference. It's so watered down. Dude, it's not like there's like hunks of cheese in there. They're just like a speck of cheese.
Just some water. You do it, man. I'm sorry. I can't.
Fucking God.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
Dude, there is no difference.
I can't do it, man. It's fucking. I brought this up. I'm sensitive with smell and shit.
All right,
man.
we poured it out here. Clean one. Fucking guy. Turn on your red light. We won't even know.
I don't have a red light.
Yeah, you got a green.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No,
it's
I
right
don't,
there.
man.
It's green.
That's like the fucking
It's the same thing, dude. Just take one. Put the green back on.
Give me.
You don't have to turn on your red light. Damien. You don't have to drink that cheese liquor no more.
Oh, fuck.
I'm laughing so hard I'm going to cramp up. Holy fuck. This is the best thing ever. Yeah, this way to close the
Marlboro? You guys want Marlboro?
Yes. I want to drinks out there. You got it, bro?
No, I can't. It's like when I think
There's
about
too much, dude. You gotta have another.
I can't.
You gotta have another.
I'll get it when I need it, man.
Drink it.
I can't. Ah!
Dropping smokes and shit. You need liquor, man.
I'm fucked up.
You need that cheese booze, dog.
No, I drink faster than you when I'm fucking cups, man. Fuck off.
Pour it out.
I'm sitting on the fucking liquor.
The spirituals. Doble Pacho, Filios, Espírito Santo.
Don't do that. That's unpure. It's European, so they got all kinds of innovation. I only use European beer, man.
I know.
That's English, so that's not European.
Okay. That's it.
That's more American.
Not anymore, so.
And that's about it. The last day on a long trip always feels like you're on autopilot. The trip is already over. It's just about getting to the car and moving on with your life. It's bittersweet. You had a great time. You're walking out enriched with new experiences. You're not happy the trip is over, but since the end is inevitable, you find yourself excited about the most mundane things, like Taco Bell and Jim Belushi. Maybe just Taco Bell. Day 6 was such a day. 4 easy miles on trail to a waiting car. The last hike, my thoughts always go back to the real world. I always think, hopefully not in vain, that I'm returning with something I couldn't find elsewhere. I'd now like to thank my wife. La única mujer que me dejó ir a las montañas durante nuestro aniversario. Y cuando regreso a la casa me espera. Gracias. Adelante.
Morena linda que no te puedo olvidar. Me paso la noche en vela pintando versos pa' ti nomás. Si una casa es tu cadera, tus puertas quiero tocar. Me quedo con mis deseos, me trago letras que ya verás. Morena de mis desvelos, aunque seas carne ajena, quiero mirarme en tus ojos que anochecidos me esperan. Escucha lo que te canto con rústica palabrera, boquita de mis ensueños, siempre tu morena buena. Ay la 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 la, ay la 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 la. Seguiré hasta Chilapa por si te vas pa' Catlán. Me dijeron que a Citlala vas a la fiesta de Nicolás. Si vienes a Chilpancingo, mi morena fandanguera, no te de mirar callado, de mis quereres nadie se entera.